Hello and welcome back to the channel. Before the video starts, I just wanted to give a little bit of an explanation. You can see it's up here on the screen. This is the bacon chop video, which I actually recorded back in April, middle of April. It's now the last day of July, and so it's been a while for me to get this up on the screen. Why? Well, life gets in the way and I've had a lot of other things on the go and a lot of other sort of foodie projects that I wanted to get out there. So I'm sorry it's taken such a long time to get out there. I do apologize for that. But it is quite a long video. I'm going to put some chapters in it so that you can skip along to the bits that interest you most. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts and your comments. So please do leave them in the comments section of the video. I do read them all, and I do respond to them as well. So it would be really nice to hear from you, see what you think. And if there's any projects you want to see on the channel, please do let me know and I will try and include them in a future video. In the meantime, enjoy the bacon chops, because I can tell you I certainly did. And they were so delicious. I'm down at Hockey's Farm back in, I'm going to be back there in August this year, so probably in about 2-3 weeks time, and I'll be buying some more of their wonderful pork. I do actually have a future video coming up because I was at Hockey's Farm literally 2 weeks ago and I bought a fantastic cut of copper, which is the top part of the shoulder of pork. I don't know why I keep saying that, but it is, isn't it? It's pig when it's alive and it's pork when it's butchered, as I mentioned in this video. But enjoy the video, let me know what you think, and without further ado, let's crack on. Well, in the last video, I said that I was going to take this lop-eared pork and turn it into some bacon chops. Well, I've got it in the kitchen. Let's get cracking. Okay, here's our lop-eared pig joint, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take out this backbone here. So I'm going to chime this out. I'm going to leave the rib bones in place here. So I'm going to have to put a saw across here. So I think that's the first thing that I need to do. So we'll locate where we're going to chop this. I'm going to keep these bones as long as possible because we're going to make bacon chops from this. There we go. So that's where I want to put it. I'll just put a knife mark all the way down there so that we know what we're doing. There we go. That's our guide. That's it, just chopping through the bone, a little bit to go. There we go. And that's it. There we got our nice cut mark. We'll get rid of all this bone dust here. We don't want that. So what we'll start to do is to cut this backbone out. And we'll get the knife in behind that as tight as we can. Don't really want to take any meat away if we can avoid it. Don't worry if you leave a small amount of meat on the bone. In this example I did, but I managed to use it in an individual pork pie I made. If you want to see that video, link in the description. There we go. We do have some meat on here. We'll dice that and that'll be another meal. But this is going to be our bacon chops. I
think what I'm going to do is just expose these ribs just a fraction more. So to do that, I'm going to just take off a little bit of this meat on the inside here and follow the ribs down.
In total, I managed to harvest about 320 grams of trimmings from this particular joint.
This will go in what was traditionally called the sausage pile. And we've got this little membrane here as well. Sometimes that can prevent cure getting in, so I'm just going to grab hold of that with a bit of paper towel and we'll gently remove that and get our fingers underneath it as best we can. Well, that's not coming off very easily, but I think that's about as much as we can get off there. There we go. Last few remnants. Right. What I'm going to do also, I think, is take the skin off of this. This is a very, very thin skin.
If you're not feeling too confident about removing the skin, this is something that you can ask your butcher to do. They shouldn't have a problem with that at all.
Once we've got it like that, what I like to do is to put a cut just like that, so I can then get my finger through it, and then with the knife nice and flat on the board, see how that comes off quite nicely. There we go. So we've left as much fat on there as we can, and we'll pop that in the oven, make some pork scratching out of that. All right, just probably give it a little bit of a trim for aesthetic purposes. There we go. That is ready for the cure. And we'll zero those and get this in and weigh it, see how much it is. Okay, so that's 1.183 grams, so almost 1.2 kilos. So we'll calculate the cure for 1.2 to make the maths easy. So for every kilo of meat, I'm going to use 27 grams of salt. And because we've got 1.2, that's going to be 27, that's going to be 32.5 grams. So I'll weigh out 32.5 grams. I like to be as accurate as possible. Okay, that will do. Reset the scales, and we're going to put in just over 2.5 grams of Prague powder number 1.
If you need to buy any Prague powder and you're in the UK, you can purchase this. The link is in the description.
I'm going to go for 3 grams because we've got 1.2 kilos roughly, so. So we're at 2.7, 2.8, 2.9, 2.98, that should do me. Okay, so here's our pre-mixed cure, that's in there. We'll just mix that together. We're going to put our meat in the bag. We're using one of these vacuum bags to cure this. Right, with the meat in the bag, what we can do is we can sprinkle our cure in. Make sure we get it on the meat. And flip it over. We want about 75% of it. 75% of the cure we want on the face of the meat, and the remainder we can stick on the other side. So we can see that cure is all on the meat now, which is really grand. We'll bring our vacuum machine into the equation and we'll get this all zipped up. Now, I will say beforehand, we've got some sharp bits here, so I'm going to do a little bit of a hack with an old vacuum bag, and this is really just so that we don't damage the so we don't actually damage the plastic on the bag here and lose our vacuum. That wouldn't be a good thing. So what I do is I get another bag, another vacuum bag, and I cut the top part of that into two, or as many parts as we have sharp bits, and I'm going to just position this. So this is essentially like a bit of bone guard. Sometimes when you buy your roasts from the supermarket, you'll see that they've got a little bit of bone guard on them to prevent the bone actually going through the meat once the pack's been vacuumed, and that's what we're going to try and avoid here. So I'll just close that bag down again. Making sure that that's all on the areas we want covered, which it is. We'll go for a vacuum. Perfect. We'll just release that. And you can see there now, our bacon chops are on cure. And we've protected the vacuum bag by putting another piece of plastic over that just to prevent that bone damaging. So this will go in the fridge to cure, and obviously the salt's going to cause a lot of the moisture to be drawn out of here, and it will almost create like a brine in the bag situation, and that's fine. So we'll visit this every day and we'll turn it over. We'll just massage it a little bit. Obviously we don't want to be too aggressive with it in case we break the bag. That's something we don't want to do. But we'll cure this for 1 day for every ½ inch of thickness plus 2 days. So that looks to me like that's about 2 inches thick there. So I'm going to say that's 4 days plus 2 days is 6 days. But I'm actually going to cure this for, I think, an extra day, and the reason I say that is because there are bones here that's going to prevent the cure getting in, and also we've got a big fat cap here. So I'm going to leave this for 7 days to cure, and so I'm going to put lop-eared pig, lop-eared pork, we don't call it pig once it's butchered. Lop-eared pork. Today's date is the 24th of April. So this is going to cure for 7 days. Then that's going to be ready by the 31st of the 4th. There we go. So that can now go into the fridge. It's been a few days now. 7 days, and my bacon joint comes out the fridge. Okay, right, so this bacon joint has been in the fridge for 7 days, and we are now going to give this a rinse, pat it dry, and then get it in the cold smoker. Let's do that.
Right, bacon's been taken out of the fridge. We've washed it in cold running water, patted it dry, and it's now in the cold smoker to smoke overnight. Now this won't be ready until about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. It is 9 o'clock in the evening right now, so this is going to smoke right the way through till about midday. We'll see how it does. Okay, it's midday the following day, and we're just opening up the cold smoker now to take a look at this bacon joint. And you can see there's a nice colour on it. You can also see in the base of the smoker the artisan smoke generator has burnt through completely. Now look at the colour on that. It's also got a really nice shine. As this meat cold smokes, it also dries at the same time, and it develops this pellicle on the surface. As it's smoking, that pellicle helps stick that flavour to the meat. Now, what I also do is for 24 hours after smoking, I will put the meat into a vacuum bag, draw a vacuum on that, and then pop it in the fridge, only for 24 hours. And that just gives the meat the opportunity to allow all those smoky flavours to get into the meat. So, these have been in the smoker for about 18 hours, and I put them back in this plastic bag so that they could infuse all that smoke. And now that's all been done, we can chop these into our bacon chops. And you can see here we've got the ribs, so we're going to be cutting in between the ribs. So they run at a slight angle, and we'd ordinarily want to cut them straight, but I want a little bit of bone on each one. So the first one's going to be just a bit shy on one side, but these ones here are going to be quite nice and large. So let's just get that nicely angled in. We'll cut through there. And that is our bacon chop. So the next one. Those are my bacon chops. But these are from lop-eared pigs. You can see the fat cap on that is actually quite thin, so it makes it ideal for this kind of cut. You're not dealing with large layers of fat, which is always nice. Yeah, we're trying to stay as lean as possible. And that smoky aroma is coming through really nicely there. These are delicious. Can't wait to get my teeth into these. Let's go and fry them up. On a medium heat, I'm adding a small knob of butter. Once the butter's melted, we can get the chops in the pan. We want to turn the chops after a few minutes so as they don't burn. After a few minutes on both sides, we can turn off the heat and cover the chops with some foil. They're now ready to go into the oven for around about 5 minutes just to cook through. With the chops now cooked through, they can come out of the oven and we're ready to taste them. Oh, look at them, they're beautiful.
take a little taste of this.
Smoked with oak, no less. Oh, that's absolutely delicious. Beautiful. What a lovely way of having some bacon and a nice rare breed as well. Lop-eared pig. Wow, absolutely stunning. I'll definitely do that again.